experience, and at least age of my person, person of my age, I would not have this kind of experience that I have had here digitally or virtually. I think this kind of experiences you have to meet human to human. I have been working with internet since 1999, so quite quickly after the commercial browsers were established. And also with IT resourcing, consultancy of projects since 2003. I'm not myself working on technical issues. I have been always the person who is trying to make technical people and the business people to understand each other. And I think that digitalization has and will change businesses, and many of those digital issues during my work time has changed quite a lot. If I'm thinking the beginning of 2000, it was a big thing that the websites were built in HTML code. And that was a digitalization at time. There were then problems also. There is different issues that we don't really think about today, that customers were kind of surprised, like how come they text because it was like printing things on the website. It wasn't in a sense of digital what we learn today. In a way, digital experience cannot be there without data. Otherwise, it is just the kind of information on the digital form. And it is quite interesting that still today companies are struggling to have their data out of the silos and use that data on the digital experience of their customers. When they run their business processes, it's often that they cannot get out of the silos, they cannot really reach the business on the digital form. For some years, companies have sorted this out by employing chief digital officers, CDOs. And the role of those CDOs typically is to make a different silos in the companies to understand each other in order to create that digital experience, which is customer experience. We as a customers, either we are in business to business or we are business to consumer, we are expecting today that part of that our customer journey is digital. However, we also believe that when there comes a problem within that experience, there will be a human being helping us. And market is full of different disruptions. Companies who have disrupted the market by bringing in very lean digital experience for customers. We all know Uber, that's I think the most common what we can think of. The whole process is digital. Finding the drivers, paying the bills, finding the customers and so on, fully digital. And has changed a lot on that industry. My own company, Ferrovalo, we are in business of having experienced people who have their own consultancies, who have usually have about 20 plus years managerial experience, either on corporates or they have been business owners, and then decided that rather than working as employees, they want to work on assignment basis in different companies. The platform we have, the whole process is digitalized. However, because these people have such a great experience, and their experience is not in digital format, And in my understanding, it could never be in digital format because none of us, having 20+ years experience, cannot even remember, like in detail, without questioning. And even if we would remember all our experiences, we would not take a time and put it in the form for zeros and ones, that it could be read in some kind of form of artificial intelligence. So even though the digital experience is there, meaning all the information flow and the flow of the CVs and also we make all the contracts in digital, we tell digitally, of course, what kind of assignments there is and so on. There's a lot of human touch. There is a point that, first of all, the customer always make a decision to whom they want to have on their premises and helping them. Because in a board work and in this kind of an experience consultancy, you always work with the teams on site. And as it is in my company, Ferrovalo, the other companies as well, I believe that the customer experience, we are expecting as a customer that it will be big part of the digitalized experience. And like I said before, when there comes any kind of a trouble, that's where we discover if the customer experience, aka digital experience, human experience, is it something that we believe it's done well, meaning that will we return to this service provider or this platform where we buy products and so on. And also when we tell our friends, we typically tell more easily if the things didn't go right. And that's also the one reason why the human touch have to be there when the things get wrong and complicated. And as we have heard, many of the speeches here in the event, that communication between the human is something that is having increasingly importance in our business lives and in our lives in general. This is of course applying to my business, and I believe in any businesses in the future and all our lives in the future as well, because all those easy processes, things that could be protected by algorithm, they will be done in the future. But then the digital experience is that when and if things doesn't go right, we need someone to speak with. Thank you. Any questions? Any comments? Because we have plenty of time.
Do you think that the digital platform will actually put the right resources together, those companies who need resources and those who are willing to offer their time and knowledge, so they can digitally be put together, or do you need a human touch still there?
If I repeat the question, so the question was that will it be enough to have a digital platform to put do the matching together? I believe that in many kind of skills it is enough, and I believe that it is enough on the skills where the project size is quite small. And what I'm talking about small project size is that the one project is like a few weeks or so. Because in that kind of a case, you get enough customers you have been working with, the recommendations. And that could help to do it digital. But in the projects that what we have with our customers, which are, for example, that the company needs to have a more experienced financial officer because they are building their business outside of their own country, and they need to see how this affects their whole business and person working closely or even within the management group. Though in those projects, the project length is quite long. It could be 4 months to 8 months. And that does mean that you don't really get these recommendations that many, that they could be like digital calculation, because if you are in consultancy 5 years and you get 2 recommendations per year, no one can base any kind of decisions on those. And also it is more closer on that sense of the recruitment as well. So it's like, maybe we see one day that the recruitment, we forgot the human beings on it, but I don't think, like, if we work as a teams, there has to be always the collaboration with the team, and that's something that, at least in the technological level we are today, I don't think it will happen. So that was. Any other questions, comments?
So, would you say that anyone who is starting a business or considering having a business, should they automatically consider some type of digital platform to be intertwined with that business?
So the question was that if anyone starting the business, should they consider right away the digital platform to build a business? In consultancy, there is already, in US there is plenty. In my languages, I can basically understand and speak only 2 languages, Finnish and English. So I have been finding my experiences of other platforms similar than ours, more in the English environment. I do know there is existing ones in German, and there is quite big market in Dutch, but those languages I don't really master. As I have been following the field, also on the side of the consultants, there is already kind of maybe even a problem a bit for the consultants, that in order to find assignments, you should be registered yourself and your experience in quite many platforms, because there start to be many of these platforms which you can use as a sales channel. But it's not, of course, a requirement, but it is something with true you can sell your experience to your customers. Kind of a possibility.
Could you give us some examples?
The example is that there is a business talent group. That's a UK platform, and Upwork in the way is similar, but I would say that they may be my understanding a little bit different. Maybe not that experienced people, but there's plenty of them. I would be glad to send you, for example, an article about it. But
let me ask my question. Let me reword my question. So what I was asking more so is, I decided today I wanted to open up a shoe store. So I'm going to open up a new business. And so when I'm opening up that shoe store, should I also be considering, in all the things that I need to do in launching this business, how to emerge or intertwine or combine or align it with a digital platform?
Okay, so reframing the question was that if there is a consumer product business,
not just a business.
Businesses.
Yeah.
In a way, in a way there is a difference if it's a B2B business or B2C business. That's why I said consumer product, like a shoe business.
Yeah, and I would love to get in there.
Yeah, but the one thing is, like, because in consumer side, the platforms have been there forever, like Amazon, like Alibaba, and all these. In there, I would say that it would be very, very difficult to have your own brand name platform where people would make a purchasing decision, because how they would find it. rather having the existing platform, the same thing like would you open the store on the street, which is your own store, or will you have your shoes or what other products sold at Macy's or at a kind of a chain? So that's, I think, where the difference is. And I'm sure that in any business, and also the location-wise, there is a differences, because one thing is that if you are not able to get your product to be sold efficiently in Alibaba or in Amazon, and I'm not really consumer business, so correct me if I'm saying something really not correct, but if you have no way to get your business for these existing platforms, of course then it's one idea to have a own platform. And to build the platforms today and build the web shop today, it's not a matter of the cost. There is existing services that you can buy, like a platform as a service, and it's your own platform. And so that was kind of an answer like, don't have to have it, but why not?
So tell us about the B2B side.
B2B side, like I said, in the service business where I'm in myself, but B2B side, in 1999 I used to work in computer, how you call it, like, at that time in Finland, the computers were sold only in special shops. You couldn't, they were considering like, would it be feasible one day to sell computers in a supermarkets? And like, no, because there's not anyone like high-skilled person telling what you do with a computer. 1999, not that long ago. Already that time, those resellers, these special shops, they were ordering their computers, what they sold to their customers, through the platform. So it has been in the B2B side for quite a long, when we come to the kind of chain of the product where it is. Like the resellers have been having contact with the production side for quite a while in digitalized form. But even though, like I did say in that now we start to have these chief digital officers, even though these possibilities and these structures have been there forever, or at least quite a long, in a companies, the data doesn't flow freely within the company. There is silos, there is the finance department, there is a marketing department, there is a production department, there is a logistic department, and very often these departments do not have data that is comparable, which is quite interesting in my opinion. Thank you.